All right. Hi, everyone. So we are back this week. I am back this week. I hope you enjoyed the Friday 15 with Steph last week. I am back. So sorry about that.
You deserve a vacation.
I know, yes. I was out in the Maritimes with my family last week. It was a lot of fun. If anyone hasn't gone, I highly recommend it. East Coast Canada. So Friday 15, we are here this week. Every Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time, we go ahead, we take 15 minutes to answer questions that you have all submitted about the travel industry. If you have any questions that you would like to submit, please feel free to go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. You can submit questions there. You can watch past episodes there. But we love having your questions, so please continue to submit them. Wait till you see the questions we have today. Thank you to everyone who submitted. We have April back with us from Uniglobe Travel Center, and I am so excited. Before we jump into the questions, I just want to remind everyone that our Hardwired, aka Tech Week registration is now open, completely complimentary to all the travel advisors that want to attend. So please join us. We will link it in the comments. And we're really excited. So April, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Amazing. Okay. Question number one, probably the shortest question we've had, but a really good one.
Yeah.
This is from Susan. What is the best host agency for cruises?
So Susan, thank you, because I get this question a lot whenever I talk to prospective advisors on discovery calls. So what I always try and impart to people is that it's really hard to say who's the best, right? Because it's going to depend on your goals, who you ultimately want to work with in terms of the cruise lines, and then how you plan to sell. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is start with your own personal business goals. You really should define whether you want to work solely on cruises or if cruises are just going to be a portion of the service that you offer. So, depending on that, if you determine, I solely want to focus on cruising, then you might want to look at host agencies that, either solely work on cruising. And whereas I can tell you some that do maybe more cruise business than others, but I don't know of any particular host that does all cruising. I would mention Cruise Planners, which is I believe they're a franchise, right, Shayna, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So that business model is slightly different than if you were an independent advisor. Obviously, if you're working with a franchise, then the branding and everything is all set out and you're having to follow those guidelines. But if you're wanting to work as an independent contractor, a 1099, and you're wanting to name your own business and create your own branding and set up your own business workflows, then a host agency model would be a better fit for that if that was your goal. So, in terms of host agencies that do really well or have great partnerships with cruise lines, I think we all do, but I would probably mention Travel Leaders Network. It's a consortium, not limited to cruise. They do all kinds of travel, but they do have a really strong cruise offering. Outside Agents Travel Leaders is, they also have good, strong cruise affiliations. Oasis, Nexion, and Uniglobe, which is my network, those are solid options for all types of travel. If you're simply wanting to do just a small portion of your business or just a portion of your business with cruising. But, the main things you want to make sure you're talking to each host agency to make sure you're getting your questions answered, because ultimately, if cruising is not all that you're doing, you're going to want to make sure that your business values align, that they're a good fit for you. So you want to get really specific on the type of technology and marketing that you think your business is going to need. What does the community and the culture look like? What does the commission structure look like? And, ask about if they have group sales, or if they have group sales support, or if they do any sort of, through Virtuoso, which is the consortia that we work with, they actually have group cruises set up and you can book into somebody else's or somebody can book into yours. So there's a lot to consider, but I always recommend people talk to at least 2 to 3 top host agencies. Ask how many cruise specialists they might have, what kind of marketing is available. And then it probably would be a good idea to see if you can talk to an actual cruise specialist in those networks as well, to see if they can give you some feedback on how they think the host agency does in supporting them. And I know that was very wordy, but hopefully that was helpful.
Those were all good words. So the wordier, the better. I love, just as a side note, I love the love for fellow consortia and hosts. I think that's
sure. We all do great. You know,
I think it's probably one of my favorite things about this industry is that is the love between everybody. So I love that. I'd also maybe add on to, I completely agree with what you're saying. I would also, when you're thinking about, Susan, when you're thinking about your niche, right? Cruise is a big word.
Sure.
For what there is out there, right? You've got expedition cruising, you've got luxury cruise, you've got mainstream, you've got small ships. You've got, I think the Star of the Seas for Royal Caribbean is launching this week, like the biggest ship in the world. Right. So I think it's the Star of the Seas.
I don't know. One of them are huge. I mean, they're all big, but
yeah, there's so many, like, just like, if you're doing tours, there's so many different types. Cruise is such a big word. So Susan, if you are looking to focus on, say, luxury cruise, right, then you want to lean into the luxury part of that, because that cruise will always be in there. Cruise will always be a part of it, right? But it's the type of cruise that's going to align with the niche and the clientele that you either have, or that's what your goal is. Kind of like what April, exactly what you said at the beginning, like, what are your business goals? What do you want, right? Cruise is such a big word. There's so many niches and special things within cruise. So I would definitely consider that as well when you're making decisions around what host makes the most sense for you.
Right. And I would even tack onto that even more that, in my opinion, at least this is the way it was easier for me, when you are trying to tackle, because cruise is such a big word and there's so many different offerings, when you are trying to tackle, well, what the heck do I even want to sell? It might be a little easier if you first define who that ideal client is, because if you define who it is you actually want to work with, then some of those questions may already be answered for you. If your ideal customer is here and you're saying that they want a booze cruise in the Bahamas or something, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Booze cruises are super fun, but they're not for everybody, right? So identifying who that client is going to help you figure out which supplier partners that you really want to be able to have the most exposure to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you ready for the next question? And we'll go from the shortest question to the longest question today. We're going to make a flip. Yeah. But I do love this. So this is from Camilla. So it said, I recently joined a host and I do a ton of research, but somehow I feel a little lost every day. I feel a little overwhelmed with so much information and access out there that my brain is freezing. I don't know where to start. So I am doing all the time, all the same things, and I'm freaking out a little bit. Camilla, I love your honesty, by the way. Thank you. Do you have a step list of what you first would recommend? Building a website, contracts, forms, service guides, social media trainings. Do I prioritize supplier trainings or destinations? I have a business and social media account set up, but I feel like there's a lot. What do I do?
Well, first of all, Camilla, you're not alone. I think everybody hits that wall, that information overload wall, especially in travel, because there is just so many right ways to book travel and so many ways to build a travel business. So if you are lost, that's normal. So at least take heart in that. I think the biggest thing you can do right now is to just cut through all the noise and let's find the quickest path to gaining some momentum. Okay. So I've actually created a list for you, which I will share with Shayna, and Shayna will make sure that you get as well. So like a foundation is what you want to start off with. The foundational tools and resources are what you want to start off. So your core systems, you want to make sure those are stable. You've already set up your business and your socials. That's fantastic. The next step after that is creating some sort of a booking workflow. So how will you take inquiries? Like if somebody reaches out to you, what are your next steps? How are you going to present yourself? How are you going to track your leads? How are you going to track your bookings? Even if you did something as simple as like a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet, for now, that's fine, because whenever you are ready to graduate to a tool or another resource that can help you do that more efficiently, but may cost money, you'll already have something and you can polish it up way easier than starting from scratch. The next step that I would say is trying to lock in your professional documents, like your legal, legit documents, your client agreement, your credit card authorization forms, something for collecting client info or when people reach out to you. And I apologize, my dog just ran down the stairs. Some host agencies will provide a template for things like that. But you could also reach out to the greater network. If you're part of a host agency, that's one of the biggest benefits to being part of a network, is being able to talk to your peers, and maybe they'd be willing to share something with you. My personal opinion would be to speak with an attorney who's familiar with the travel industry and have them draft custom terms and conditions and forms for your business, because a lot of it may change depending on where you're operating. So no need to reinvent the wheel. It's just a matter of just making sure that you're using the resources that you already have available to you. And don't stress about getting it perfect, because if you do that, you will never actually make a move. What is that? Paralyzed by perfection. Have you heard of that, Shayna? I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody ever accused you of that? Because I have definitely been accused of that.
I'm not going to lie. I accuse others of that.
Yeah, right.
Perfection is not necessary.
Put something good enough for now, and then you can always polish it up, because the rules, your needs are going to change. Your focus is going to change. So it's going to evolve no matter what. So don't worry about trying to get it perfect. Don't worry about a website right now. Your socials are up and running, so you can use those for now. But I would not put your time and effort into building a website. Most host agencies these days will provide that opportunity for you, where you're able to do it through them and you don't have to try and do it yourself. Start there, and then you can worry about doing something more custom later. But the overarching theme here is that your focus should be learning, right? Decide what you want to sell, decide who you want to work with. And I think the rest of it will fall in place as you start to get your hands a little bit dirty.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things that you had mentioned, and something I always think about, is the community that you have within the host, right? All of your fellow IC's advisors have been through this, right? They've started a business. So talk to them. It's amazing. Everyone loves to share what worked and what didn't work for them. Again, it's just, everyone is such an open book, I find, and it's such a beautiful thing. So ask your fellow advisors. I guarantee you will not be the first or the last to do that. No. A lot of hosts have like getting you onboarded, getting you set up for success. Use the tools that they have. That's one of the best part. I know you recently joined a host, right? Take advantage of what they offer and what they have available to you. Personally, I love, and everyone at HAR knows, I love a good backlog list. So I list down all the things that I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And then I go through them and say, okay, here is what is priority, with almost like a must do, right? So I pick 3 or 4 things, and that's what I focus on. Everything else stays on my backlog, because those are things I would like to do, but are not necessities at the moment, right? So when I think about, getting set up like with your contracts or those, to me, that's a priority. So that would be my 3 or 4 things that I focus on. But my backlog list allows me to not forget about things I would like to do, knowing that, and I keep it, it's in one of the programs that we use. And every month I go take a look at it and see if there's anything that I can bring forward. But
that's really smart.
You can't do, it's a fun thing. Someone from a finance department taught me that at one of my last companies, and I use it now all the time, because we all come up with great ideas. But, when you're an advisor on your own, you are a small team and even all of us, HAR here, we're a small team as well. So you can only do so many things, but not everything is a priority. So you start to pull things forward as you go, and then eventually everything kind of gets set up. Also, to what April was saying, we'll link. We have a list of some really great travel lawyers. There's a whole bunch on there if there's anyone that you ever want to talk to. So it's in our blog, but we'll link to it directly in the comments. So if you do want to take a look, Camilla or anyone else, please feel free. There's also some great information within that blog post as well around the importance of speaking with a travel lawyer, what they're going to help you with, and everything like that.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Camilla, that was a great question. And I'm really glad that you brought it up, because I think sometimes in the beginning, people are afraid of coming across as being brand new or not knowing. So I think you probably scratched a niche for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. I loved that question. I totally agree. All right. Final question of the day. So I like this. The start is not a question, but a request. Thank you, Becky. I love how you started that. Please discuss agent etiquette on FAMs. So from the unwritten rules to the obvious ones of, showing up on time, don't solicit guests, etc. There seems to be a lack of awareness and understanding lately. Could you share some FAM etiquette rules?
Yes. Becky, you are the wind beneath my wings for even bringing this up. I feel like even though it's something we talk about a lot in the industry, it is absolutely worth mentioning over and over again, because there's always going to be new people coming in. And unfortunately, not everybody has had the benefit of having a professional who's been there before them take them by the hand and give them this information. Some of it's common sense, but some of it might not necessarily be. So the biggest thing you got to remember about FAMs is that it is not a vacation. I talk to a lot of prospective advisors who they think that's the only way to learn about a product. And it's not. It's definitely not. But also, too, whenever you go on a FAM, you're not just the supplier's host. They're investing in you. They're investing in the ability of you to learn the product intelligently so that you can sell the product intelligently. So you want to make sure that you're bringing yourself to the table in your best professional form so that you can help them get that return on their investment. So your behavior also affects your reputation, but also your host agency's reputation. So make sure you're showing up on time, early departures and things like that. Some of these FAMs suppliers will be taking you on a tour of some sort. Don't show up and make everybody wait for you. Don't show up late. Make sure you're about 5 minutes early so you can get on the bus and, nobody's waiting on you. That's the most embarrassing thing ever. And the suppliers do notice. They take note of who are we waiting on? Who are the people that are always not respecting other people's time. This is something I think is kind of an unwritten rule, dressing for the role, or maybe not an unwritten rule, but something that people might not necessarily think of. If you're at an all-inclusive in Mexico, for instance, you might not necessarily think that if you're going on a site inspection, I almost said infection, but if you're going on a site inspection that, I shouldn't wear a swimsuit cover-up. No, you should not. It's fine to be casual, but it should be polished. Closed-toe shoes for site tours are really important. If you're showing up in flip-flops and jean shorts and tank tops, you're not putting your best foot forward with those supplier partners. So just always make sure you're dressing for the role, no matter where you are. Participate, ask questions. You want to engage and ask smart questions. And smart questions, I would say, probably take a little bit of time on the front end to think of them and write them down before you go. If it's something that's really highly specific to a client scenario, maybe get with the tour person after the fact. But write things down, write down room categories, write down amenities, write down selling features so that you're not, you're actually taking information away that you can turn around and again, sell intelligently. You want to mind that physical space. This is one of the things that Becky brought up. Don't sit on the beds. Don't lie down. You're treating this like someone's home. You wouldn't walk up and open the fridge or open somebody's drawer. So just make sure that you're being smart about the areas that you're in. You want to be discreet with the photo taking. People should not be waiting on you while you're, still in the room taking selfies and things like that. Like, please don't do that. It makes everybody so frustrated. Don't bring unauthorized guests or family members along. In my opinion, I don't think you should bring a guest on a FAM at all. Some people look at that differently. That's my personal preference. And you absolutely do not want to be soliciting guests when you're on a trip. We just had one of our advisors put in our private Facebook community that they had seen and another advisor who knows who he belongs to in terms of host agency and consortia, but he's wearing all of his branded gear and he's talking to people in the dining rooms at meal times. And it's a huge no-no, because what it is you're essentially poaching clients, not only from the supplier, but from your peers, from your colleagues. And I think the golden rule goes a long way in situations like that. You wouldn't want somebody approaching your client on their vacation. So definitely no talking about what you do, no wearing branded gear, mind your alcohol, don't complain. and your after responsibility. Come up with some sort of a sales or marketing plan so that you're showing the supplier partner that you're good for the investment that they've put into you.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from the supplier side where we hosted quite a few FAMs, I can tell you, knowing that I ran the budgets for those, we invest a lot in wanting you all to experience the style of trip, the destination and everything. And we love doing it. Like, let me tell you, suppliers absolutely love it because, you all getting to experience it is super important to a supplier. A lot of suppliers, and if there are any suppliers listening, I highly recommend that you have a contract of sorts that says, this is what the supplier provides. This is what the advisor will provide, whether it's, a little bit of marketing for the supplier. We had a whole contract around etiquette on a famil trip. One thing I would notice, and I highly, and April you touched on it as well, but is that sometimes you're going to be on FAMs with 10 or 15 people. Sometimes it's going to be 50. It just depends on the type of supplier, right? You're going to be on FAMs with advisors from different hosts, different consortia, different countries, potentially a lot do Canada and the US together, and that have different styles and are different people. You may not love everyone that you are traveling with, and that's okay. I used to, when I was a tour guide, and that's how I started in the industry, my one rule was respect. We just respect everybody. And that goes, that kind of like overflows into everything. But we want to respect that everyone, not only is everyone there, everyone has earned their spot to be there on that FAM. Like you said, April, as suppliers, we take note. We come back, we write post-FAM reports. That's part of what your BDMs, so your business development managers or sales directors have to do when they come back from a famil, is that they have to then write a post report, and they let us know how every advisor was on the actual trip and whether we would bring you back on another famil, we'd recommend you to a fellow supplier, all of that. So definitely things to look out for. We do have a blog, and I know April is providing us with an updated list of, we have an infographic on etiquette, but April's going to be providing us an updated list. So we will absolutely share that with all of you. We will share the link to our whole long form blog on FAMs in general. There's such a wonderful opportunity for you all to take advantage of, but don't take advantage of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a fast track to not getting invited back to another one if you're not careful. And that's not, I don't say that to put fear in anybody. That's just the truth, Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to wrap up with the two most important links, and that's the link to Uniglobe Travel Center's host profile on the HAR's website, as well as directly to Uniglobe Travel Center. So please go check them out. Feel free to ask April any questions. The team at UTC is just outstanding. So please ask them any questions if you are interested in working with them and learning more. We do have our upcoming Friday 15s. So Dugan's Travels is next week. And then the week after, April, you are back with me. So I'm super excited about this.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that other one. Okay, yay. It's on my calendar. I just haven't looked that far ahead. So
if you all enjoyed this, April's back in 2 weeks. So we're super excited. We have KHM to start off September for us on the 5th. And then Gifted Travel Network will be here with us on September 12th. So we've got a full lineup. We're really excited. A reminder, especially if you really enjoyed and you want to hear more from April, please submit your questions to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. We will link that again for you. And of course, go check out Hardwired, which is our tech week coming up in October. That's it. Whew. Happy middle of August. I hope you're all enjoying. And April and I will be back with you in 2 weeks. And then in between, we're going to have Dugan's Travel. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And thank you, April. You are just
of course
wonderful.
I love spending time with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. Anytime. All the time. All right. Bye, everyone.